now to item number 13. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I feel personally item number 13 is very, very generic and mechanical. It's a little bit of an anomaly. Don't ask me why. It just seems to be everywhere you deal in New Zealand, the police department or something like everybody has different boundaries. We seem to cross over into 4 of them. Predominantly environment, Waikato, a little bit into EBOP, and of course the other 2 down here, Hawke's Bay and what's the other one? Horizons. So these are just a triennial agreements, how we work together and with each other, etc. So I don't know if anybody wants to actually speak to them or about them, or whether you accept the mechanical item that it is up to you. There's suggested resolutions on 13/1, which covers Waikato region as the primary signatory, Maapuni region as a primary signatory, which of those 2 we really recognise, and Horizons and Hawke's Bay as non-primary signatories. There are some recommended amendments there, as you can see. Councillor Kevin?
Do we not have an agreement, triannual agreement with Ruapehu?
No, they're not a regional authority.
So these are only the regional ones here.
Essentially, they're a part of the Manawatu Horizons Agreement.
I just would note that I had handed out an updated version of the Hawke's Bay Region Triennial Agreement, and there's some minor changes in there, but they don't change the purpose or intent. It's just wording.
It's a real anomaly, though. When you get into politics, and you talk about the health board, and it goes this area, and the police department goes from Kataru down to Waihuru or something, but nobody seems to have the same boundary. So, however, that's the way it is. So, as I said, the suggested resolution on page 13/1, I'm happy to move. Secondly, Councillor Johnson, all those in favour? Aye. Carried, thank you very much. Okay, agenda item number 14 again is Taupo Youth Art Trust, which is very important in town and works very diligently towards the youth and the arts. It's about we can appoint 2 non-elected. We can appoint 2 members to it. They can be non-elected members, which means not councillors, or a couple of us councillors, or only one of us, or something like that. So I'll open that up to the floor and look for guidance. Ariel.
Could I just make a point of...
Sorry.
Could I just make a point of clarification? Essentially, council doesn't have to appoint the 2 members, but they have the option to appoint if they would wish. In this case, having spoken to the trust, they would be happy to see someone from council appointed too, but council doesn't have to appoint someone. So just
we
to
could
bear
end
that
up
in
just
mind.
appointing one person, and one springs to my mind is very dear to her heart, is the Taupo Youth Art, is Miss Williams.
Yes.
And I'd like to nominate Miss Williams to Taupo Youth Art, and it may be that that's the only appointment we make here today, unless somebody else is extremely keen on being on this. Can you consider your workloads? Considering your workloads, but anyway, do I have a second for nomination? Yeah. So I'll take that as a second and question.
How often does it meet? Do you know?
I have been trying to contact Chris Dolman, who's been part of the Youth Arts Trust for several years, but I haven't been able to contact her and find out the regularity of the meetings.
I'm quite keen. I wouldn't mind being involved either, just from the sort of being the youth part of the district, being one of the younger councillors as well.
Tell everybody.
But I suppose you can still attend these meetings and just participate and be of assistance without actually being on the trust.
No, you will have to become a trustee by this appointment, so you would have that responsibility as opposed to just being a representative of council. But you could possibly speak to the trust and ask if they would be willing for you to come along to their meetings and have that contribution, but that wouldn't be an appointment made through this part of the item.
Hang on a minute, I'll just take Ms. McLeod.
If you look at their constitution, they actually must meet not less than quarterly.
I do know they have quite a few meetings just building up to when they have that at the Great Lakes Centre with all the competition and what have you. What they call it, the use of water safety. Councillor Mitchell.
I just think we should nominate one of our youngest members. I think, Anna, we should nominate you to be as part of the trust.
Well, you have got the opportunity to put two elected members on there. You're right
I'll second.
right within your rights. Eh?
I'll second.
And do you accept nomination, Councillor Pitt? Okay, we have two. Do I have any further nominations? There being no further nominations, you are duly, is it called elected?
Appointed. Appointed.
Okay, I didn't think it was quite the right word.
Anointed.
Okay, thank you. All in favour? Aye. Thank you. Unanimous. Moving now to agenda item number 15. Mr. Van Hennett, would you like, do you want to report on this, or do you members want to take this as read, or would you like a report on it? Councillor Johnson's here, I'm here, and Mr. Van Hennett, and we're all involved in this to a degree.
The situation as it stands is that we have had confirmation from the Secretary of Transport, who is the Crown's representative, that they will contribute their half share, or quarter share as it works out, for the resealing of the runway, and that's being undertaken at the moment. What the story was there was that the original runway resurface, which had to be done, was sloped such it was 40 mils on the outside and 50 in the middle. That wasn't suffice for runoff of water, and we still had icing problems during the winter time. We believe it is a design fault, hence we are seeking 50% of additional cost, which I'll refer to in a minute, from ACON, who are the consulting engineers. What we've moved to is having the centre at 75 mils, so it's up from 50 to 75, which creates a greater slope. In fact, in some parts of the runway it'll be about 90 mils, that's just to keep it sort of on a level basis. That additional cost was 150,000. As I say, we're seeking half from ACON, and the Crown and ourselves contribute 37,500 each. We've had confirmation from the Crown. Coming as a result of the reseal, there is quite a bit of millings, which is the old reseal of the runway, and we are looking at using that to create a asphalt apron out from where the administration area is at the airport, because we have major congestion when there's 3 planes there. From a safety issue, say it might be the Auckland or Wellington Eagle flights plus a corporate or something of that nature. We are seeking the Crown to contribute their share. We're also looking at maybe extending the taxiway. So what we're seeking here is agreement for Council to do a capital contribution, because Crown doesn't do loans, it does capital contributions, and we've got to match it accordingly, of up to $150,000, being dollar for dollar with what the Crown contributes. Separate issue is that we're trying to get the agreement from the Crown at this particular point of time, because we've got all the equipment set up resealing the runway to actually lay the millings as asphalt. If we don't do it now, the cost could be 40% higher, because I've got to re-establish the setup. So one thing Council might like to consider is whether to enable this work to be done while we negotiate with the Crown to get their share, is whether the Council is prepared to loan the airport money to enable the work to be done now, and look at repaying that with the funding arrangements once we can get it sorted out. So I just raise that as an option, Mr Mayor, because if we're not careful, Fulton Hogan will be disestablishing their plant, because they would have finished sealing the runway, and we'll be looking at probably 40% more.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Does everybody sort of understand what's going on there? Councillor Ackland?
Thank you, Your Worship. So is the total, so if we loan the airport money to do the job, is that like 300,000? Or am I reading that wrong?
What we would look at doing at this stage is just probably the apron. We wouldn't look at extending the taxiway. There's a taxiway at the northern end of the runway. They were looking at extending it down to the southern end. Well, we've lasted this long with just the northern end, rather than fronting up all the money. It's about 130,000 to do the asphalt apron, which would create a lot of, well, improves safety, but also improves functionality at the airport. And it's just a suggestion that, in addition to the suggested resolution, that we had part 2, something around the loan of funds to the airport to enable the apron to occur.
So what would be the maximum loan that you require to do the work?
130,000.
Oh, not 150. Or
No,
plus,
no.
plus 150.
No, what we're saying
Sorry.
is that the council matches the additional capital investment of the Crown and the Taupo Airport up to a maximum of 150. So at this stage it's 37.5 because the Crown has said yes to 37.5.
Okay.
When we can get the Crown to say yes to their half share of the other 2 projects, or whether it's 1 project or 2 projects, then we match that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, to enable it to proceed, one thing the councillors might like to consider is lending the airport the 130,000 to enable the apron to be done while we seek the 65,000 share from the Crown.
I suppose that's like utilising the tailings that's the millings that's
Sensible
coming
business
off.
decision, really.
Yeah.
As
Otherwise,
long
it'd
as
just be
everybody
stockpiled
understands,
space.
sometimes we talk and some people, millings,
Yeah.
just to give you a recap here, the airport was resealed a couple of years ago. It proved that something was wrong in the reseal. We had issues over the last couple of years where water was coming up through the tar seal. It was delaminating from the bottom surface. We were getting icing problems. We went back to Wilton Hogan, who had a guarantee on it. Under their guarantee, they are ripping up the entire runway because it's proven that there was a problem there. They are a very good company to deal with. They are honouring their obligations under the warranty, etc. On the runway. They are totally ripping up the runway. When they rip it up, they use this machinery, and when the tar seal comes back up down to the base course, they call that millings. They put all that tar seal in a heap over there, and they do their warranty job. In the process of doing their warranty job, it's been discovered, I'm only repeating what Alan said, but I hope it just gives more clarity. In the process of redoing their job, it was discovered that the original engineering was flawed, that our airport should have had more of an apex to it, so water ran off it and didn't collect and go icy and have us closed down in the winters and lose flights coming in and out of the town, strikes to the heart of your visitor interest and economy. So the engineers are paying a part of there's an extra cost to put more tar seal in and pitch it and apex it. All those millings that go over to one side, while they've got all there, they call it batching a plant, and they heat the stuff, they heat it up and they can reuse it again. If it's not reused, it's simply wasted, and it would cost a lot more to do these projects later. So Airport Committee, and with the help of management, Mr. Van Hennett and that, who flew to Wellington last Friday, I think it was, and discussed all this with our half partner, came back with the good news on one part of it. We're still waiting for the news on the other. What we're virtually saying is we will, because they have budget in Wellington, so they'd have to wait till their next financial year or something, we'll lend their share to the airport, and it will be repaid at a later date and get the job done. And the airport moves a stage further towards Councillor Crate's international status.
Through the Chair, what I'm suggesting is that the suggested resolution is number 1 as shown, number 2 that Council loans the airport $130,000 to be repaid by the capital investment of the Crown and Council when such investment is approved.
Well, I'm quite comfortable with that, and I'd just like to ask my fellow board member, Councillor Johnson, you've been involved in this from this training, so you got to comment any further?
Well, being a practical person, I believe it's a great chance to utilise some millings to enhance the airport. And I'd say that the committee has looked at it. I think 2 of the board members have gone away, and Wayne
Taylor and John Fennell and Mr. Van Hennett were in charge of that.
They work at the airport, and the opportunities or the end result is going to be again another asset for town. And it's one of our gateways, so I'm right behind.
Okay, so is any questions or anybody want to know anything more about it? That is one of your gateways to town. It's an extremely important one, so please feel free to ask anything if you want to. And answer to the best of our ability, and if there's not, I'll look for a mover, please, for the resolution. So moves Councillor Crate, and I have seconded, please. Councillor Henderson. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Carried. Unanimous. Performance report, item number 16.
Perhaps if I can take this one.
Oh, okay.
Just by way of explanation, because we're meeting in the middle of the month, there are no financials attached to this, to our normal performance report, because there isn't sufficient time between the month cut-off and the council meeting. So what you have here today is the business plan highlights, as you normally get, but also the other thing you've got there is the service performance results for the first half of your year. Now those are all the performance targets that are in your annual plan for this year. We give you those that have been worked on, or should have been worked on. We give you an indication of how well they're going, which is the service performance results in the second half of the report, and page by page.
Okay, that's fine. And just to add what you were saying, Ms McLeod, we will be having a workshop on auditing and finance, and that will happen before your next council meeting, so we will be well prepared for the financial report that comes out in the next agenda. So if you'd like to take it page by page, we'll start with page 16 bar 1. Please, anything you're not sure of, please ask. That's what we're here for. So page 16 bar 1 shows 30% completed, 61% on track, and a 9% slippage period, amount of slippage, and the explanation is under the graph. But if anybody requires anything more, going to 16 bar 2, item by item. Those green lines are nice. 16.3. These are all the projects we're working on at the moment, including, as you can see on here, Rugby World Cup on 16 bar 3 ongoing. Refurbishment of the AC bars, post-ETA enhancements, your wayfinding and all that sort of thing, traffic calming. Any questions? 16.4. 16 bar 5. You can see there's a little bit of slippage there on the OD and a decision on a tender for the air discharge consent.
What's the WTP building platform?
Where are you? What page are you on?
16 bar 5.
Water treatment plant upgrade.
Yeah.
That's the biggie that we've got on our hands in this triennium. It's in progress and we're underway. You see pipes laying around streets and what have you, and so there's a lot of expense in this. So yep. Personally, I like Lake Taupo with my gin as it is, but that's fine. Okay, so 16 bar 5. Moving on then to 16 bar 6. Service performance results, half-yearly report. Remembering this is ending at December 10. Just passed, a couple months ago. 16 bar 7. 16 bar 8. 15 bar 9. I must say this is laid out very, very well. It's self-explanatory, and even I can comprehend it very easily. 16 bar 10. 15 bar 11. I'm glad you gave us very good advice to take this page by page. 16 bar 12. Like the macron on the O. 16 by 13.
Yeah, 16 by 13, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to point, this is the trophy that was won at the IFEA last November, wasn't it? So this is the trophy here. Events capital of the world for communities under 100,000.
Well, great for that, and congratulations. But you know, so the 3.5 years I've been here, and I don't let me belittle that one little bit, that's a great trophy, but we've won quite a few things for our JMA agreement and that. What about, can we find somewhere in town we can display these things? Can we have a slate cupboard? Nobody, that's not a public. Well, there's only, with the greatest respect, sir, the same 4 or 5 people that walk past that door at each council meeting each time. I'm sort of talking about the greater public.
What about a new building on the domain?
Not built yet, sir. Where can we put, you should be proud of them. Staff work hard, governance works hard. You get these things, and I personally, I'd just love to see somewhere where they display.
Do a display in the BMZ window.
Well, they let us.
Well, one of them
All
were. It's one on the
council
corner.
accolades.
Perhaps it's the one on the corner somewhere. They used to have a display window. They've perhaps changed it. I don't know.
I just brought it up, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, stand tall, be proud.
Oh, Great Lakes Central Museum.
Well, the
Someone would love to
library,
see
or
that we
museum.
just had a whiteboard or something. Councillor Kirk,
I
please.
just think in this year with doing the LTP, we're having if we have a council and community expo, it should definitely be something that's highlighted. Community pride.
I think that's worth considering, isn't it? Because I mean, it goes from there to somewhere, goodness knows where, along with a lot of our other accolades. You know, stand tall, be proud, I say.